Am I the a-hole for not splitting my college fund with my dad's affair child? Plus update. Original post. My father dropped a bombshell in our family last year when he revealed that he had a secret son from an affair years ago. After my mom found out about the affair at a time and gave him an ultimatum, he cut things off with the mistress and she moved away. Until last year when she introduced him to their son, Hank, 14 male. I don't really care about his sudden desire to be a father, considering he didn't show any regard for the rest of his family when he broke the news. Thank God my mom divorced him. And now neither my brother Connor, 18 male, my sister Sophia, 15 female, nor I, 23 male, want anything to do with him. Here's the thing. We have a shared college fund that my mom's parents set up for us when we were little. My parents contributed almost half of the money, and my maternal grandparents contributed the other half. The account remains under my mom's control after the divorce. As far as I know, my father stopped contributing to the fund after they split. Last month, I found out that my dad has been harassing my mom because he wanted to add Hank as a beneficiary to the college fund for me and my siblings. He claims that since Hank is his son, he is entitled to the fund that was set up for Connor, Sophia, and me. My mom told him off, but now he's been going around bad-mouthing her online and to their mutual friends, saying that she is heartless and cruel for taking her anger out on an innocent child. He also had the nerve to reach out to me, trying to pressure my mom through me. He said I should consider opening my heart to Hank, who grew up without a father and wasn't given the same opportunities as my siblings and me. I left him on red because, honestly, the things I wanted to say to the callous man would not have been pleasant. Yesterday, he changed tactics and said he wanted to withdraw all of his contributions from the account, divide them so that Hank get a share, and then deposit the remaining money back. He added a caveat that, since Connor and I didn't need a college fund for tuition due to our full-ride scholarships, the money should be divided into 2 parts, for Hank and Sophia, instead of being split 4 ways among his 4 children. Now my dad, some of his side of the family, and even the mistress, are pressuring my mom to agree to this. I'm praying that she won't give in. It makes me furious that we're being asked to split our college fund with my dad's affair child. Even if I don't need the money for school, I will need it in the future, and so will Connor. I know for a fact that my dad wouldn't use the same reasoning to exclude Connor and me from the fund if it meant leaving the money solely for Sophia. It's all about Hank. I understand that Hank is innocent and not responsible for his parents' actions, but I don't see him as my brother. To be honest, I don't even see my father as a father anymore. As far as I'm concerned, my family consists of me, my siblings, and my mom. That's it. So, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Info. We have a shared college fund. What legal type of fund? Even if yes, I don't need to use the money to pay for school, I will need it in the future. Are you sure that's even an option? Where I live, if the funds are unused due to scholarship, we can withdraw it and won't be penalized. And I am considering getting a master's, so even if I didn't have to pay for undergraduate, I probably will need it for grad school. The fund is a state-sponsored savings plan. Sorry I can't give the actual name since it's very specific to where we live. Not a-hole at all. Where does your father get the idea that he set up this fund when it was your grandparents on your mom's side? Do his family members know the whole story? Yeah, that man's delusion is out of this world. His audacity is truly unmatched. My paternal grandparents know and support us. I know my grandma has been trying to get him to back off, but he unfortunately doesn't listen to her. It's mainly my dad's brothers who are joining him to harass my mom. I don't know if they know the full story or not. Since grandma and grandpa know, I feel like they do too. Not the a-hole. He can deal with his crappy decisions. The divorce is finalized. He can't go back and change the terms now. Additionally, it sounds like he didn't put in most of the money. It sounds like at most he put in 25%. Either way, he no longer has any claim to it. He can take out loans for Hank. I guarantee that Hank will not see a penny of that money if your dad gets a hold of it. And Sophia definitely will not see her half if it happens. Now for the update. Thank you so much, everyone, for the support and advice. I really appreciate it. I talked to my mom this morning about getting a lawyer involved and possibly a restraining order. She has been in contact with a lawyer regarding my dad's demands, and it seems he really doesn't have any legal rights to the college fund. I think some of you are correct in saying that he's doing all this because he knows he wouldn't win in court. As for the restraining order, my mom is hesitant to pursue one right now since my dad has visitation rights with Sophia, and she doesn't want to complicate things for my sister. However, she promised that if the situation gets worse, she will consider it. My brother Connor and I have also decided to take turns coming home on the weekends so that our mom and Sophia aren't alone, just in case anything happens. To clarify a few things, we haven't involved my mom's parents in this because their health isn't the best right now. When my grandfather first heard about the cheating and the secret son, he was so shocked that he had a heart attack. Thankfully, he has mostly recovered, but none of us want to put any additional stress on him. According to my dad, he didn't know about Hank's existence until last year when his mistress came back into the picture. No one in our family was aware of Hank until my dad brought him to a family event and broke the news to everyone. He blindsided and humiliated my mom, and that was the final straw for her, leading to the divorce. I honestly don't have anything against Hank. It's just that right now, I can't imagine spending time with him. He's still a minor, so any interaction would have to involve either our father or his mother. And that's a situation I'm not willing to put myself in at the moment. Maybe things will change in the future. Who knows? Hopefully this situation gets resolved soon. Thank you again, everyone, for the amazing advice and words of support. Next story. Am I the a-hole for wasting everyone's time in therapy because I was accused of lying? My mom, her husband, a die 16 female, have been in group therapy together. We started therapy a few weeks after Father's Day because that was the final straw for them. They insisted we needed therapy to work on why I won't let us be the family they want. We began at the end of July, and by the end of August, my mom accused me of lying, called me a liar, and laid out this big sob story about how much it hurt her to have me lie to her and do everything I could to destroy her marriage. It ticked me off so much. I never lied at any point. I said as much in the follow-up session, and the therapist asked me to explain my side and how I felt about my mom calling me a liar. My mom kept trying to interrupt me, told the therapist to shut up, and then accused me of being a vicious liar. To give some background, my mom and her husband got married 3 years ago, moving in together 2 months before the wedding. Before they moved in, they sat me down and asked if I was okay with us all living together and becoming a family of 3 again. My mom brought up how we'd have a man around the house again. My dad died, and she said it would be good for her to have a husband, and for me to have a dad. Her husband said he couldn't wait to be my dad, and that he had always wanted to be a father. He even mentioned that he already had plans for us for Father's Day. This was back in February, 3 years ago. I told them I wasn't okay with that. I don't want another dad, wouldn't let him be my dad, and was not going to spend Father's Day celebrating someone who isn't my dad. They just laughed it off and proceeded as if everything was fine. But every year since then, Father's Day has been a struggle because I refused to spend a day with him, and both he and my mom have tried to make it happen. I meant what I said. I've never called him dad or let him fill that role in my life. This year, he snapped. He had a temper tantrum and said I was supposed to be with him on Father's Day, not spending the day alone, and that he didn't sign up to be nothing to me. My mom called me a liar because she claims I promised to develop a close relationship with her husband and agreed to what they asked. She said I told them I would give him Father's Day, but I lied and didn't follow through on any of it. I made them believe I was a willing participant and that I wanted us to be a family. It ticks me off because I never said what she claims. I even repeated exactly what I said back then. The therapist couldn't get my mom to apologize, and she has no control over the sessions, where my mom and her husband dominate the conversation. So I just stopped talking and would zone out during the sessions. They only noticed this 2 weeks ago. When they confronted me, I spoke up again after more than a month of staying silent in therapy, confirming that I wasn't listening. Last week, I told them I was done engaging because I was owed an apology for being called a liar. Now my mom and her husband are angry, saying I'm wasting everyone's time by not participating. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. I'm surprised the therapist is still taking the sessions. They must need the money pretty badly. Your parents, like so many before them, aren't after therapy, where you have to work on your own issues. They want a wizard who can change reality for them, and maybe change you for someone who wants to call your mom's husband Dad. Good luck with it all. The therapist is pretty young, so maybe she's new and doesn't want to fail at one of her first set of clients. Otherwise, I don't get why she'd keep us either, when she was literally told to shut up. And not in a nice, I got this way, but like legit shut up, we're talking kind of way. She seems really sweet. I think she's probably a good therapist, but maybe she lacks the confidence and experience to really tell them to shut up or to fire us. She does try, but my mom knows how to be loud and talk over people. The therapist being so young and new might be why she was chosen. I didn't think of that, but it does make sense with everything. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not asking my grandparents to include other kids in my house when we visit the water park? I, 16 male, live in a pretty chaotic household. After my dad passed away, my mom remarried. Her husband already had 2 kids from a previous relationship who are now 12 and 11. About 18 months after my mom and stepdad got married, my stepdad's best friend went to jail, and they took in his 2 kids who are now 8 and 6. Then my stepdad's sister passed away, and her child who is 5 also came to live with us. So in total, there are 6 kids including me, living in the house with my mom and stepdad. My dad's parents visit me a few times a year. My mom doesn't let me see them too often because she's worried that the other kids will feel left out, especially since my grandparents don't automatically include them or send them gifts. About a week ago, my grandparents told me they were planning to take me to a water park that had recently been renovated about 2 hours away. They said we could make a day of it, and my mom had already given them permission to take me for the whole day. After my call with them ended, my mom, who had been listening in, asked if that was the water park the other kids had been talking about. I told her I wasn't sure, but probably since everyone at the school had been mentioning it. A few hours later, my mom told me that she had talked to my stepdad and they wanted me to ask my grandparents to include the other kids in the trip. She said they could never afford something like that on their own, but since my grandparents could, she thought they should be willing to include all the kids just as once, because it's such a popular and exciting place. She even offered to come along and help supervise. I told my mom that I didn't want the other kids to come because I wanted to spend time with my grandparents alone. She insisted that I needed to ask my grandparents, saying they would never agree if she asked, but might say yes if they thought I wanted everyone to come. She gave me a few days to ask, but I didn't. Then my stepdad joined a conversation, and both he and my mom reprimanded me for being selfish and greedy. They said I had a chance to do something kind and wonderful for my siblings, and that it wasn't like my mom wasn't willing to help out. They reminded me that I'm the only one in the family with grandparents, so I should be encouraging a more inclusive dynamic. My mom even said that while she might not be able to force the issue, she could remind me that I'm not being the best older brother and that one day, I might actually consider them my siblings and regret not trying to make them happier. So, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole, and please let your grandparents know you're being coerced. Maybe you can go live with them? I told them what was going on, but living with them isn't an option yet. We looked into it before, but legally I don't get to influence the decision like some states allow. If your mother wants to ask your grandparents to include others, she should do the asking, not you. She wants you to ask, so it will seem like your idea, not the a-hole. Yeah, or so she can get the answer she wants to hear. She doesn't really care about whether they'd be wanted or not while there, which is kinda awful to do to them too. It isn't fair that she keeps you from your family. Is she expecting your grandparents to pay for all of the other children too? Because that's a very expensive day. I feel for you and your grandparents. I also feel for the other kids. I mean, it would be nice for them to have grandparents as well, but your mom definitely can't force other people to step up as grandparents for kids they have no ties to. Yes, they're supposed to pay for them, and my mom said she'd pay for her own ticket only. Yeah, that is not okay. And you know what's crazy? Your stepfather didn't offer any physical or financial help, and they are all his kids/friends' kids. He sounds like a mooch. Last story. Am I the a-hole for sending my son to rehab against my ex's wishes, even though I have sole custody? Okay, so I, 34 female, have sole custody of my 14-year-old son, Liam. Lately, things have been really hard. He's been acting out a lot, skipping school, shutting down emotionally, and I recently found out he's been drinking and experimenting with pills. When I discovered that, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm a recovering alcoholic myself, been sober for 4 years now, so this news sent me into panic mode. I did what I thought any parent would do. I started looking for help. I talked to a few counselors and eventually found a rehab program that also addresses mental health issues for teens. I thought this could really help Liam before things get worse. The problem is, when I told my ex, 38 male, he completely lost it. We don't exactly get along, one of the reasons I have sole custody, but we do share visitation. When I told him about Liam and a rehab, he said I was blowing things out of proportion. He basically thinks Liam is just experimenting, and that is normal teenage behavior. He told me rehab would traumatize him, that it's too harsh, and accused me of projecting my own issues onto our son. I sort of understand where he's coming from. I know he doesn't want to see Liam go through something difficult, but at the same time, I can't just sit by and watch things get worse without doing something. I've been there. I know how addiction starts. My gut tells me I'm doing the right thing by getting him help now, before it's too late. Anyway, I went ahead and enrolled Liam in a program last week. My ex is furious. He's been calling and texting constantly, telling me I'm making a huge mistake, and that Liam will end up hating me for it. He's even threatening to take me to court to fight for custody. Honestly, I'm a wreck. Part of me feels like I might be overreacting. Like maybe I should have tried other approaches first, or at least involved his dad more in the decision. But I'm just scared, you know? Scared for Liam, scared of what could happen if I do nothing. I just don't know anymore. So am I the a-hole for sending my son to rehab without my ex's approval, even though I have full custody? Should I have listened to him more? Not the a-hole. You need to do what you think is best for your son. It may be hard for him and for you now, but for sure it will get better in the future. Good luck to you and your son. Thank you so much. I only want the best for him. He is my world. You definitely are doing the right thing. Your ex threatening to go for full custody is going to look bad for him. The court will be like, you want full custody of your child because he's getting the help he needs? If you are concerned, just keep a timeline with how the issues escalated and your communication with your ex about the situation. Update. Am I the a-hole for dumping my girlfriend after moving in with her? Original post. I, 25 male, moved in with my girlfriend, 24 female of 4 years, 3 weeks ago. She chose the place, and although her name is on the lease, I paid half of the deposit and paid the first month of rent, as she couldn't afford it. I also paid the first month of bills. She works part-time and has some savings she used to furnish the place according to her taste, despite my objections. I felt she overspent, and the money could have been better spent on other things. She had a few friends over on Monday when I came home. She had ordered food, and as I normally come home from work at 5, she was surprised to see me there an hour earlier. They were a little drunk, and one of her friends made strange comments, which I thought nothing of due to the alcohol as I went to the bathroom to shower. When I came out from the shower, her other friends and sister was quoting me poetry that I had written to my girlfriend, and was quite handsy. I found it odd and asked her where she had heard that. She goes, "We just read your love letters to her before watching a movie." My girlfriend was laughing with them. Her sister made a remark about how she wanted me to do her the way I do her sister, because she had never felt that way. I was furious, but due to her drunkenness, thought it impossible to talk to her. So I just left for my mother's house. On Tuesday, she called me 17 times, but I ignored it. She also sent me many texts wanting to know why I wasn't home. On Wednesday, I told her in person how hurt I was for her sharing my intimate letters with her friends and for oversharing what we do in private. She said, "Relax, it was a joke and nobody got hurt." She said the girls were impressed with me and that is why they got a little handsy. She said once I gave her the letters, they were hers to share with whom she pleased. So I told her that I am my own person and can make the decision to not share more of myself with her. Today she came to my mother's apologizing. She wanted me to come back and talk it out with her. I told her no and that we were through. She wouldn't leave, so I drove to my father's place, where I am now. She kept texting me and telling me that I should be ashamed of myself for leaving her like that. She got her friends and sister to apologize to me, and they told me to quit playing games and go home now that they had apologized. I told them I was home, and that as my name was not on the lease and I wasn't respected as an equal in her home, I no longer wanted to be with her. Luckily for me, I hadn't moved most of my stuff there. She kept phoning and texting, and I blocked her. She then made a mutual friend of ours contact me and tell me that I was being cowardly about it, so I blocked him too. Then his girlfriend texted me and told me not to take things out of proportion. I am almost certain I did the right thing, but maybe I should talk it out with her before cutting all contact. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Nobody got hurt. Odd she said that, after you explicitly said it hurt you. Also, don't love it when people rope their friends into internal relationship disputes. Personally, I wouldn't want to sign up for a life of this, so not the a-hole. Nah, she was just being honest. She just thinks OP is nobody to her. That she called him a B while trying to win him back was the final nail in the coffin. She thought a bloke calling him an emasculating name would shame him into coming back. Boy, did sis read that wrong. OP deserves better than someone who thinks getting your boyfriend groped by your drunk friends is a fun joke. Not the a-hole. Can you imagine what this situation would be viewed as if this was a guy treating a girl this way? She comes home and his friends are drunk. They've gone through her intimate stuff that she's given him. He talks to them about their intimate lives, and they all come up to her and start being handsy with her and telling her how great she is and to sleep with them in the same way. Then later on call her, apologize to her, then tell her she's being too sensitive and a B for not coming back. Yeah, that is quite the scene you just laid out. Totally disgusting, whether you are male or female. It's not just the love letters that I wrote intimate thoughts in that got to me. She shared our sex life too. I thought everyone knew that what happens between two people stays that way. The letters were sent and addressed to her when I was abroad, and it had a lot of info about my family, and I never thought she would share them with people I didn't address them to. Now for the update. After reading a lot of the advice here and talking it out with my family and friends, it seems it's best to not continue my relationship. I haven't contacted her directly, but I went with my brother and my friend while she went to visit her parents on a pre-booked trip. I collected my things and gave my brother the key to give her Friday evening. She wouldn't take it from him, as she wanted me to return it. My brother told her there was zero chance of that happening because of the TikTok post she had on her account going into more details about what was in the letters for me, including her mentioning my sister by name and her miscarriages. This forced my sister to tell my mother about it, even though it brought up a lot of trauma for her. At the moment, my sister is not talking to me because she felt I shouldn't have shared that with anyone. I agree. It was a violation on my part, even though I was looking for emotional support from my girlfriend. My ex took down the post in hopes of getting me to meet with her. When she realized that wouldn't happen, she put up another one telling her side of the story. There were several parts, and in it she was looking for the letters to show her followers. But I knew where she kept them and took them while I went to collect my stuff. I burnt all of them. I won't be writing letters to any new romantic partners anytime soon. Her sister has been to my mother's a few times trying to get me to help out with the rent. As according to my ex's reasoning, if I hadn't agreed to pay for the rent, she wouldn't have overspent in setting up her home the way she wanted. Even if she sells the stuff, she won't get the original price for it, so she feels it's my fault for making her lose money. She did contact the landlord, filmed for TikTok viewers while she was on the phone to him, and he denied her breaking the lease without penalties. Now she has to pay the remainder of the months. I asked her for my deposit through my friend while he was on a loudspeaker to her, so I could hear her side without having to speak, knowing full well I wouldn't get my part, but at least he tried. She called him a lot of names, then phoned him back and apologized because she wanted him to tell me to phone her so she could straighten out the misunderstanding and we could get back together. She has now taken down all the posts about me. Don't know if she will upload them again once it dawns on her that we are through. She phoned my brother again to make me speak to her so she could explain, and he met her a few hours ago. He finally gave her the key as she was told either she could take it or we could return it to the landlord. He picked up a call from her an hour after I dropped off the keys. She wanted to talk to me and to forgive her, as she had seen how she made a mistake and that it wouldn't happen again. She wanted me to return the love letters, but my brother told her they were burned. She had to go at him, so my brother cut her off. She phoned back more apologetic and said what she had to do to make me go back. He asked her if she would be okay with me sharing her nudes and clips she has sent me with my male friends. He asked her this without okaying it with me first. She said she wouldn't be okay with it. I guess the double standard has completely turned me off, as she told my brother that if you receive something through a romantic relationship, then it stays between four eyes. It's not that she doesn't understand that what she did is wrong, it's that she expects me to be okay with it, as in her mind, her feelings matter more in a relationship. She also thinks that me being taller and bigger than her shouldn't have felt threatened by her friends or sister, as I was not really in harm's way. He then blocked her as she phoned him several times over and left him crying messages, and then some angry messages to delete her nudes. Her sister left an angry message with a friend that helped me with asking for the deposit, and she threatened him that if I ever leaked her nudes, I wouldn't live to regret it. She told him to pass on the message to me that there is something she's very insecure about sharing about her body, and she doesn't want me to share that without her consent. I'm getting a new number as I can do so with my current payment plan. I'm going forward from this and hoping that I make better decisions in the future. Thank you to all that helped me with good advice. Her double standards and that of her sister are seriously disgusting. You got rid of a cancer in your life, bro. Forward and upward. I honestly get how love letters can be different to nudes, but in this case, they aren't. F the sister for that, and all those hypocrites. Call me crazy, but is it really that hard to understand you shouldn't embarrass your partner for your friend's amusement? His ex is someone who puts her life on TikTok, possibly without realizing it's her worst side. It's unsurprising that she shared personal info for her friend's amusement. So, OP is rightly upset about girlfriend sharing intimate details of their relationship, and then girlfriend decides to post, check notes, multiple times to TikTok about said intimate relationship issues, and is shocked he won't speak to her? Alright then. Let's not forget the sexual harassment of ex-girlfriend's sister groping and asking to hook up. Like, was he supposed to agree and then do her right there? Yeesh. OP's ex could have fixed this with an immediate apology, but no. She kept doubling down. Also, girl, when you go to a lower-paying job, you don't spend your savings on frivolous things. Well, in her mind, she had someone else to pay day-to-day expenses. She was going to save up for a few months while he paid rent. I doubt she would have ever paid anything towards it. Dropping down to part-time before moving into your first place is pretty deliberate. I also doubt that the landlord said only one person could be on lease. That's weird, at least where I live. Last story. Update. Am I the a-hole for blocking my ex when she broke up with me? Original post. My 19 male ex-girlfriend, 20 female of 3 years, broke up with me Sunday night over text. She told me that she felt like my lack of ambition was holding her back, and she needed to move on with her life because she felt like I didn't value her. When she sent me that, I just sent okay and blocked her, and fell asleep shortly after. I did not block her friends, and had loads of messages yesterday morning when I woke up. They were asking me to unblock her and talk to her. My sister, 20 female, is also friends with my ex-girlfriend, and she told me that my ex was hurt by my sudden blocking, and that she still wanted to talk to me for closure and wanted to make sure I was okay. I told my sister that I was okay, and that I didn't want to talk to my ex, but would like it if she could tell her I appreciate her checking on me. My sister was not happy with this, and told me that it was a hard decision for my ex, and she just wants to talk to me. I again told her I was fine and that I'd rather not. My sister then told me that I'm acting insanely calm for being broken up with someone I was with for 3 years. I again told her I was fine. She asked me if I cried, and I told her that I didn't, and I just fell asleep listening to music. My sister told me that she's concerned about my lack of emotion, and told me that my behavior isn't normal. I told her that I'm not obligated to cry over anything, and I think it's weird that she was acting like I was. My sister once again told me that it wouldn't hurt to have one conversation with my ex, because she was still worried about me and wanted to stay friends. I once again told her that I was fine and didn't want to talk to her. She told me that my lack of compassion is psychotic, and that ticked me off, so I just started ignoring her and she eventually left me alone. This morning, when I woke up, my sister sent me a bunch of text messages again, so I just blocked her, and because of this, she went and told our parents and they are upset with me for blocking my ex without communicating first. They said that we've been together long enough and they thought of her as a second daughter. I was just aggravated at this point and told them that I'd appreciate it if they mind their business. But they didn't stop, so I told them I wouldn't hesitate to block them too if they continue, which caused them to stop. They apologized to me and told me that they didn't mean any harm, but just felt like it was a little inconsiderate of me to just block her without talking about it first. But they won't press me to talk to her if I don't want to. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Are you kidding? She says she doesn't want to date you, and that is mad when you cut contact? She can't have it both ways. She dumped you. She chose to end it. She's a huge a-hole for making her inability to deal with her emotions about the breakup your problem. Like, why should you babysit her emotions when she freaking dumped you? Thank you. I don't understand why everyone was making it seem like I was in the wrong when I wasn't even the one who broke up with her. It was a strategic dumping, a wake-up call. Your sister may even have been in on it. And second thoughts make that probably. You were supposed to realize what you were about to lose and get your act together. Then you'd all live happily ever after. Except you, because your significant other would threaten to dump you every time you didn't comply. By accepting it and not following their script, you ruined the narrative and left your ex hanging with no plan B. The closure was code for you begging for a second chance if you agreed to straighten up, and your ex graciously agreeing. Nice body swerve there. Your ex and possibly your sister seem to be playing stupid games, and you were well out of it. Nobody raising the point that she broke up via freaking text? A 3-year relationship. WTF. And then everyone claims the recipient of the text is an a-hole. That is crazy. I have the feeling girlfriend didn't want to break up, but rather have OP up himself to whatever she deems good enough. His sister's reaction is strange as well. Too invested in this drama that isn't one. I'm guessing ex and sister cooked this up to fight for us, or trick him into something. Yep, she's furious she's not getting any validation from OP. No begging, no pleading. Ignoring her is absolutely the best thing OP could do. And yeah, sister absolutely was part of the discussion. OP needs to talk to his parents about that part. That nonsense should not fly. Now for the update. This happened like exactly a week ago, so I apologize for not updating. I genuinely was not thinking about this at a time. Basically, my ex showed up at my parents' house during Easter with my sister. My parents and I weren't even made aware that she was coming. She told us that she only came because she had no other way to communicate with me. She told me that she was extremely hurt by me blocking her right off the bat, because it made her feel like I actually didn't care about her at all. She said she thought that I would have loved her enough to try and better myself for her. I was confused by this, to be honest. I told her that she said I was holding her back, and she needed to move on. If anyone told me that I was holding them back in life, I probably would have blocked them too. I told her that even if she didn't say that, I still wouldn't have begged her to stay. We kinda talked a little more after that, and then she got my sister to take her back home. When my sister came back, she was mad at me again because she said that I caused my ex to cry, and I'm simply punishing her for caring about me. My parents are mad at my sister though, because they said it was unnecessary for her to do that at their house because it made the atmosphere awkward for everyone. Other than that, I've really just been chilling. I don't think I'ma try and date anybody else soon though, or at least not someone my sister is friends with, because it makes me uncomfortable with how much she's invested in my life. Not a-hole. She broke up with you. She has no reasonable way to expect that you would continue to follow her around like a lost puppy. Showing up at your parents' house to talk to you after you blocked her is stalker behavior. So she made herself cry when it didn't turn out like she wanted. This girl overplayed her hand. What she thought was that OP would beg her to stay and ask what he could change about himself to improve. Instead, OP was like, "Cool, peace out." Yep. And she deserves exactly what's happened. If there is something that needs to change, you talk like an adult to your partner and see if you can come to a good compromise if you can. Awesome if you can't. It's a shame, but you aren't compatible. OP's ex-girlfriend played stupid game. Won stupid prize. Sister is way out of line for encouraging this kind of behavior and saying OP needs to accommodate this kind of ridiculous behavior. Yeah, you have no reason at all to not block her. If she really broke up with you in an attempt to get you to level up for her, that is absolutely moronic. I wonder which idiotic woman in her life told her that this was a good idea. She 100% did not get that advice from a man, because any man would have told her that that idea was idiotic. We should all be going full no contact after a breakup. Also, why the heck would you try to convince someone who has already decided that they don't want you anymore to stay with you? Who the heck would want to be with a woman who doesn't want to be with them? That sounds like a nightmare relationship. We taking bets on this? Because I want $10 on his sister. Am I the a-hole? My friend is having an affair. We plan to tell her husband. Plus updates. Original post. I've known Anna, female 38, since we were in high school. We are part of a group of 5. Now we hang out as families for Christmas, birthdays, Easter, etc. It has been like this for over 10 years. My partner, Greg, male 39, is good friends with Anna's husband, Darren, male 39. Anna recently told me she is having an affair with one of their family friends, who is also Darren's sister's ex-partner. At the time, I remained non-judgmental and supportive. Once the information set in and I realized how disloyal and gross the whole situation is, my sense of justice and moral compass came into play. Darren is a good man. Anna says he is a wonderful father and husband, but she just doesn't feel the connection with him anymore, despite faking it the last 6 months to keep her secret under wraps. I knew keeping this from Greg may backfire on me if he found out I also hid a secret. So I told him. He is shattered for his mate, and it is eating at him. I've told Anna that Greg knows. She's mad at me for the betrayal, expecting me to take it to my grave. She knows they're catching up soon and Greg plans to tell him. Anna has not asked for a separation because they have an overseas trip coming up in October. She has told me financially that she can't leave. Keeping in mind, she regularly gets expensive treatments like Botox and taking roids to have her look her best. We want to tell Darren about her affair in 2 weeks. Will we be the a-holes? She doesn't want to tell him because they have an overseas trip coming up. Likely a trip he's paying for, and she wants to leech off him. Tell him. We will. He will want to sell her tickets and cancel reservations. The sooner he knows, likely the less money he'll lose. I put this above, but he needs to freeze his credit immediately and contact any credit card companies to cancel cards and get an update on money she spent, either running up the bill now or spending on her affair partner. Same with bank accounts, college savings accounts for the kids, you name it. Her money train is about to derail. Unless she's stupid, she's going to try and get every penny out that she can. Also, to add to this, as part of the conversation where Darren gets told about the affair, he needs to be told that he has to do all of this before confronting his wife about the affair. She's made it very clear that she's only in it for the money at this point, so he needs to cut that off as soon as possible. She is mad at me for the betrayal. Cheater mad for betrayal. The irony. Also not asking for separation because of a trip? What will happen after the trip? You would be the a-hole if you don't tell Darren immediately. She's greedy and selfish, I suppose. That's an understatement. Edit/mini update. Some have asked why we are waiting. Greg works away. He is home in 2 weeks, closer to 1.5 weeks now, but feels like due to the nature of the conversation, it should be in person. He knows Darren will be very upset, possibly angry, and wants to be here to support him in those initial moments. I feel like I should also mention there are kids involved. Do we tell him via text sooner? Let's clear some things up. They have always had separate bank accounts. They do not join money, and never have specifically because of how she spends money. They both work and put in a percentage of how much they earn into the home. She does not have access to his money and will not be able to clean it out in the 2 weeks. I know for a fact he keeps a very close eye on the credit cards. While we were away and she was buying unnecessary things like clothing, she made sure to use her card, not the credit. She says he will question her about it since they are trying to pay off the house and save for the trip to Bali. We are in Australia and laws are different. Things will more than likely be 50-50 financially. Greg can't quickly fly or drive back from work. It's a 13-hour drive one way and $600 plane fare. He's first in, first out, and cannot leave until R&R begins. While we all live in the same state, Australia's pretty damn big. She told me directly she would want the kids to be 50-50. Anna's never liked kids, and while she loves her own, I think the thought of having them full-time sounds like a walking nightmare to her. The person she's having an affair with has lunch with her locally sometimes while she is on lunch break from work. They have run into acquaintances multiple times. He comes for a family dinner twice a week. The kids have caught Anna sitting on his lap before, while Darren is not home. He comes over when Darren is on night shift, while the kids are in the home. Anna has apparently been able to cover up by telling the kids she does his injections and that it's private, so she administered them behind a locked door. He is also in roids and she's in hers. Darren did ask if I thought she was cheating back in January due to her libido suddenly becoming very heightened. At the time, I thought it was because of her recent surgery she had. I don't think it will be too hard to convince him, and I'd say he has an inkling already. As Anna has said over the past few months, he has become possessive and jealous, for obvious reasons. The family trip planned in October is with another family friend and their family for the husband's 40th birthday. They have split activities, accommodation, etc. I think. We do need to keep in mind that Darren may choose to stay and work it out. In this case, Greg and I will be put in a very awkward position and possibly be removed from the group, which I'm okay with, but a little bit disheartened at the thought of losing people I've spent the last 20 years with. We have moved the meetup to the day Greg flies on Tuesday. If he was flying home sooner, it would have been done sooner. While it's not pleasant, I've had to sit on the info guys. By the time we confront him, I will have been told exactly 2 weeks and 3 days. Greg and I agree, in person will be best for this particular friend. Now for the full update. First and foremost, thank you for all the advice. I feel the general consensus is that we are not the a-hole. We were dreading catching up with our friend Darren, as we really did not want to be breaking news of this magnitude to him if there was an option for him to either come to the realization himself or her to come clean. Darren texted me Sunday that he had caught her. Greg and I still saw him and offered as much support as possible. She definitely watered down her BS, but Greg and I have told Darren what we know, which he said he is extremely grateful for. She did not apologize or provide reasoning, but simply packed her bag and left. The kids stayed with him at the family home. The children were distraught and Darren seems a broken man. At least now the ball is in his court, and he can see Anna for who she truly is. Darren is a mess, but has plenty of people surrounding him, including her family and friends. As for mine and Anna's friendship, I have decided I will be removing myself from it, and I'm no longer in contact with her, nor do I plan to be. I know plenty of people deemed me the a-hole for betraying a friend's trust, but was she really a friend, blaming and guilting me after making me complicit in her own deceit? I did not mention in the post that Anna had told me the following morning that it was good I knew, because now she could use me as an excuse. I don't owe loyalty to a friend like that. As for the group, I have messaged them about my stance and why I will be removing myself from Anna. Again, the ball is in their court. It's their decision if they choose to continue a relationship with her. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling people that my wife and I are planning to get divorced? After a tumultuous year, my wife, 32 female, told me a 34 male she'd like to separate, and I agreed with her. She told me she wanted me out of her life as soon as possible so that she could move on. But we have a shared apartment, so she'd like me to move out full-time. For the last 6 months, I've been living sometimes in my office to give her and I some space. I always imagined that this would be temporary until we solved things, but now that we are no longer together, I don't feel bound to her anymore, and thought that I should try and do what's best for myself. That means using the kitchen, shower, and bed in our apartment. It wasn't great having to live on takeout and sleeping on a couch here in the office for months on end. She said that this gave her a lot of anxiety and that she would contact her parents, who are leasing the apartment to her, to throw me out and that she'd say whatever it took to get them to do that. I went immediately to her parents to seek reassurances that this wouldn't happen. I later found out that this is illegal. When I showed her the law, she said my reading comprehension sucked, and that even if it was illegal, she'd just get me deported since my visa application hasn't been finalized yet. Since then, I've made arrangements to stay with my parents in the States, travel around Germany to see the friends I met there one last time, found a lawyer, tried a support group, and generally have just attempted to move on. It's been difficult though, because she keeps messaging me telling me about how she isn't feeling well, and that she secretly didn't want to divorce, but was hoping for a break so that we could see if things got better. In Germany, you need to separate for a year before beginning divorce proceedings. She's also talking now about how things might be better, but that all went out the window when she found out that I told our parents. She said that it's simultaneously her right to tell her own parents, and that I shouldn't have told mine because my father is kind of a blabbermouth. I really wouldn't have said anything to her parents honestly if I wasn't so panicked about being kicked out of our apartment. She doesn't know that I told a bunch of my friends already, so I can only imagine how angry she will be when that happens. So am I the a-hole? You're getting a divorce. It doesn't really matter if she is mad at you. Get the paperwork done and move on. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. You owe her nothing. It doesn't matter if she is mad. It doesn't matter if you're an a-hole. Block her mentally. Block her totally and tell her if she needs to communicate with you, she can do that through your attorney. Better not block her, but to communicate 100% through text so everything is in writing. Not a-hole. Too bad for her that she couldn't control the narrative and make out that you were the bad person in all of this. That is what it was really about. She wanted to poison the feelings of your friends and family before you had a chance to say anything. God only knows what she planned to accuse him of. OP, get your narrative out there far and wide. They know exactly what she's like. Next story. Am I the a-hole? I told my ex's mom that her son physically abused me and it broke their family. I, 24 female, broke up with my ex, 24 male, after a few years of hell. I was beaten by him from time to time whilst living with his family. I was blackmailed and threatened by him to stay silent for so long. The bruises I had on my rib cage were hidden by clothing, so the family never saw. But eventually, I got the courage to escape and ended a toxic relationship. I kept in contact with his mom, Sandra, who is like a second mom to me, and we meet for coffees now and again. She doesn't know the real reason why I broke up with her son. While in therapy, Sandra texted to check how my sessions were going and asked to meet at a cafe afterwards. She knew I was going to therapy but had no clue what for. We sat in the car for a bit, chatted, and I showed her briefly some worksheets I was given from my therapist. Basically, a printout of a PPT they made about domestic violence. Sandra looked through the sheets, me forgetting that she didn't even know about it all. She became manic and worried and asked why I have therapy in domestic violence. I would feel terrible just lying to her face, so I told her to park in a more private area to chat. I then explained that her son physically mistreated me. She was mortified, to say the least. We both ended up in tears and hugged each other. I received a text a week later from Sandra that she recommended anger management centers and therapy for him, which she refused. So, she said unless he seeks help, she's cutting him out of her life. She canceled holiday, birthday, and Christmas plans with him for the rest of the year. Did not expect that. I then get told by friends that my ex has said he is self-harming now because I told his mom about the abuse. I know it was her decision to kick him out and his actions to me are unforgivable, but I can't help feeling guilty for breaking up their family and causing her son to be suicidal. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your ex is suffering the consequences of his actions. 1. Nobody forced him to abuse you. That was his choice. 2. He could have avoided being cut off by going to therapy and anger management. Also, hopping on here to say the fact he's saying he's self-harming because of you is another manipulation tactic. Stay strong, OP. Different situation, and the ex and I are more or less amicable. But even when she found out I was self-harming, I made it clear it wasn't because of her. It was the situation of the breakup and what that entailed, sure, but it wasn't her fault. It was depression in my feelings. Nobody else caused them. 100% a manipulative tactic if it's like, you're making me want to end myself. Not the a-hole. Oh, poor him. His abuse has been found out by his mom. He's not going to end himself. It's his way of trying to turn the tables and become a victim. Classic narcissist move. You did the right thing by telling the truth. Yes, the world would be a better place if we normalized the outing of perpetrators of DV, child abuse, sexual abuse. What's different here, and frankly encouraging, is that the relative of the perp didn't defend him. I mean, let's get real here. The guy should be in prison. It's kind of messed up that OP has any care whatsoever that he's currently separated from his family. That's trivial, relative to what should have happened to him, and that she's guilty about this is an indication of the screwed up dynamics around these issues. He assaulted her repeatedly. For that, he should be in prison for a long time for repeated violent felonies. Am I the only one who's worried that OP could be in danger now that he knows she told his mom? Stay safe, OP. I'm glad his mom was on your side. Funny you should say that. I am absolutely terrified of him because he lives in the same area as I do. I have actually accidentally bumped into him a couple times and have had to run away. I'm considering filing a restraining order against my ex. What do you think? Don't consider it. Do it. Contact the police and let them know your fear. Also ask your therapist if she has any ideas for how to protect yourself, especially if your ex knows where you live. You're not overreacting. Last story. Am I the a-hole for going no contact with my family after they expected me to get back with my ex and help her raise her affair baby? I am 30 male. I am not sure how to word this because I'm crushed and don't know what to do. I have been with my high school sweetheart Cassie since we were 17. My parents love her and so did I. Our parents were always asking when we would get married and give them grandchildren, and me and Cassie would say when we are financially stable. We are both doing good in our careers. My job, however, required me sometimes to leave the country. I left 7 months ago. I am due to go back this week. Except a friend of mine rang me to tell me that Cassie is 3 months pregnant. Obviously, I am not the father. I didn't believe my friend and rang up Cassie. And after pushing her, she finally broke down crying and admitted that she is pregnant and it was a drunken mistake. She said she doesn't know who the father is because it was a random guy. She said she wanted to keep the baby, and we raised the baby. I was in shock and ended the call. I texted her and said we were done. She tried to ring back, but I switched my phone off. I was on autopilot for a couple of days and just worked. Then my boss told me he had a family emergency call from my dad, and I took the call. My parents basically said that Cassie confessed to cheating, but it was a mistake, and the baby needs a father. I saw red and told him if he was so worried about the baby, then he can step up and be there. We got into a heated argument and I ended the call and blocked him. My mother, him, and ex had been texting on different numbers and telling me to step up and mistakes happened. I got so frustrated that I rang them up and said that I was going no contact with them and I will be looking to applying for a visa to stay in the current country permanently. I heard my mother and ex start crying before I hung up. It's been a week now, and I have time to think about what happened and wonder if I'm the a-hole. Not the a-hole. And why the heck do so many people think a man should bite the bullet and raise some rando's kid because their wife/girlfriend/acquaintance decided to have unprotected sex with some other guy? Also, a drunken mistake. Hands up if you find your partner gone, then go get drunk and hook up. I did get drunk once and argued that our outside Christmas lights looked too much like Easter lights and would confuse the neighbors. I was told to come inside and sleep it off. Not the a-hole, and don't look back ever. Your parents are freaking a-holes for trying to step up as the father of the affair. This is a great opportunity to make everything you want. Don't throw it away. I think his parents want grandkids so bad that they lost their mind. Or one or both his parents have cheated. Why else are they pushing him to forgive? Sounds very suspicious.